Welcome to the Sporticos Football Stories podcast. Today is Thursday, the 1st of August 2024. I'm Craig Resnik-Hanson, and today I'm joined by Olympiakos superfan and Madrid-based football journalist Panos Kostopoulos. We talk about the club's historic Europa Conference League win, the rivalries at the heart of Greek football, and so much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy our chat with the one and only Panos Kostopoulos. Hi Panos, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm very, very well. I'm very excited about today's chat. In the very early days of this show, my former co-host Ander and I spoke to you about Greece's Euro 2024 win. But today we're here to talk about your club side, Olympiakos. And what better place to start than that final in May? So the Euro 2004 win for Greece was gigantic and miraculous. But how big a deal, how does this win for Olympiakos rank? Because maybe some listeners might think, well, it's only the Europa Conference League, but there were some big clubs in that, and more importantly, some good teams with very accomplished coaches, Aston Villa and Fiorentina and so on. And you made it all the way, won the whole thing. How does it feel as an Olympiakos fan to see your team become the first Greek side in history to win European gold?
Well, for Olympiakos fan, it's as big as Euro 2004 was. To be fair, like in Greece, we are not as connected to the national team as in other countries, like in England, for example. So club football is too big here. And if a team wins a European trophy, whatever this trophy is, because now we know that Olympiakos they don't have the, let's say, level to play in the Champions League. So Conference League, it's as big as it can go, or like even Europa League is too big for Greek teams right now. But to be fair, like in order to explain to you how big this win is, I have to give you some context and go through I do a summary, okay, of the recent history of Olympiakos in Europe, in European competition. So I'll talk to people who maybe they don't know what's Olympiakos. Olympiakos is a team that has almost 50 league trophies, 30 cup trophies, the biggest team in Greece, the team with the biggest wins, but a team that has been suffering a lot in Europe, a lot. They've been playing since the 80s. They had been playing consistently in the Champions League since the 90s, the early 90s, and like every year. And they hadn't won away. The first win was in 2007-2008 away at Werder Bremen. Many inferiority complexes there, many problems, many big losses. Like the longest run that Olympiakos had was in 1998. They reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League when it was actually like Champions League, the champions go to the tournament, and they played Juventus. They lost 2-1 away. They scored an early goal in the first half, and then they were dominating. They missed big chances, and then at some point, it was very windy that day. 100,000 people at the MARCA stadium, at the Olympic Stadium. It was very windy, and at some point there is a cross from the right. The ball drops somewhere else. The goalkeeper doesn't expect it, and Antonio Conte, the coach, who's now a coach, scores a goal. 1-1. Disaster. This is just one small example of what Olympiakos fans have suffered in Europe, and believe me, they have suffered a lot. There was an obsession with winning away. They just couldn't win away. Any team, not only the big teams, like teams like Molde or maybe Depor, but not the big Depor. Even teams that are not powerhouse, they couldn't win them. And there was an obsession, and there was lots of suffering, because Panathinaikos actually, and of course, it's Panathinaikos there too, and they were good in Europe, and they were doing really well, and they had reached the final in 71, which is okay. It's long ago, but they were doing well in Europe. And then the comparison is always there. Like you have 50 trophies, but in Europe you can't do anything. So, I mean, that's some context to understand like what was happening to Olympiakos, because like maybe everyone knows Olympiakos, the name, but not many know how much their fans have been suffering in Europe.
You know that fan culture can be quite toxic and petty, especially online between clubs and rivals. And I'm just wondering if I believe in today's context, like you said, this is a huge win, and it really should get that monkey off of your back in terms of, European accomplishments. But do you see Panathinaikos fans, AEK fans try to denigrate it and say, oh no, you still can't do anything in Europe, this doesn't count? Or are they big enough in most cases to accept that it's a huge achievement?
Of course they will go and try to belittle it. Like, I mean, everyone does that, like we would have done it, everyone would have done it. That's how like fans increase, especially where the passion is like enormous. Like you cannot accept this. I mean, Panathinaikos fans cannot accept it, but imagine AEK Athens fans.
This is what I wanted to come on to. This is what I wanted to come to. So you had this, you talked a lot about the away curse, right? And the getting an away win. So what better thing than to be the first Greek club to ever win a European trophy, and not only away from your stadium, of course, but in the AEK stadium. How did that feel, I guess, on both sides from what you could tell? How much did that add to it for Olympiakos fans? And how much did it rub salt in the wound for the AEK fans who would have been gutted anyway?
I will tell you about the AEK fans, the Olympiakos fans, and me personally, okay? So the AEK fans hated it. Whoever you asked, they're like, this is the worst night of my life. Like, I wish you had won all the leagues from now on until I die, and you don't win it at my home stadium. I mean, I'll give you some context on this too. Like, Athens had this stadium in Philadelphia, but many years ago, I don't remember how many years ago, maybe 20 or maybe more, they decided to destroy it because they thought that they would get some funds in order to build a new one, a modern one, at the same place. They had many problems with the administration of the club. Many different owners passed and went and left and came, and they had never had the opportunity to play at home. They were playing at the Olympic Stadium, at other stadiums, and for 20 years or even more, they were actually playing away. Last year, they inaugurated their new stadium. Which is that stadium, this very historic stadium at that area of Philadelphia where it's like 100% AEK. And they played in Europe. They played in the Europa League, and they were in a tough group, to be fair, but they didn't win. They had no win. And the first win of a Greek team at the AEK Athens Stadium was Olympiakos' win in the final. So you understand that this is not fun, man.
No,
imagine you
it's a nightmare.
Yes, it's a nightmare. That's what
it's an absolute nightmare. I think for all fans, but like you said, especially in Greece where the passion is so strong. I wanted to know, is the rivalry for Olympiakos fans bigger with AEK fans or bigger with Panathinaikos in terms of the clubs? As an Olympiakos fan, which one do you feel more hatred towards?
No, the main and the only, I would say, rival is against Panathinaikos. The other one is not actually a big derby. The last few years have been good. They've won 2-3 titles. But there is only one rivalry in Greece. And these rivals in every sport, like from football to women water polo, or like kids volleyball or I don't know, pensioners table tennis, you know. So
I wanted
that's the bit.
to I wanted to check something because we've all seen the footage on social media of the celebrations in Madrid, all too familiar scenes on Twitter. But I wondered, was there something similar in Athens for this win for Olympiakos? And if so, how do you think it felt for Panathinaikos fans to see you guys celebrate in public this victory?
Actually, it wasn't too bad for them. I'll explain why. So, like, basketball is very big in Greece too. It's actually like sometimes it's even bigger than football. People love basketball. And 3 days, like the weekend before the Conference League final, there was a EuroLeague. I don't know if you know anything about basketball and European
I know
basketball.
enough to know what the EuroLeague is, and I know a couple of the really big ones that came through it that are in the NBA now. Like, is it Doncic and
Mm-hmm.
is it? I can't say his name, the Greek guy.
Antetokounmpo, yeah, Giannis.
Yeah,
Giannis is easy.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Like, so EuroLeague is very big in Greece, and the two Greek clubs are very successful in the EuroLeague. Both of them were in the Final Four in Berlin the weekend um, before the Conference League final. And Olympiakos got thrashed in the semi-final by Real Madrid, and Panathinaikos went through and went to the final and won the EuroLeague. So they had this, they had this happiness, and then Olympiakos fans sing. I was there too. Olympiakos fans watching Panathinaikos winning the EuroLeague while they are there 3 days before the Conference League final. So it wasn't that bad for them, It was okay. Like it was okay. And then,
did it
again,
make you
for
feel
them,
nervous that like, oh my God, we have to win now because
yes,
now they've won this. This is going to be terrible.
yes, definitely. Totally. Like I like I left Madrid on Tuesday to go to Berlin. I went to Berlin. I saw what I saw, and then I left. I went to Athens without a ticket, just to be there and watch the game in Piraeus while the conference. Like I wanted to watch it in Greece, even if we win or we lose. I want to watch with Greek people, with Olympiacos fans actually. So yes, there was lots of disappointment, which helped a lot not to think about the Conference League final until Wednesday morning when you wake up and you realize like, shit, like we play a European final tonight. How is this? Like, how do you manage this?
Where does the success rank among your favorite Olympiakos moments as a fan? Is it the biggest, or is there anything still that you've seen so far that you've enjoyed more?
As I told you, like basketball is too big in Greece too. But actually, we asked ourselves in a WhatsApp group that we have with my friends, and we're like, okay, like. What do you prefer? Like to win the EuroLeague on the weekend, on to win the Conference League on Wednesday? Olympiacos has won 3 EuroLeague titles, just to understand. And I was like, okay, I wish we win the Conference League, and you can dismantle the basketball club. I don't care about basketball anymore. Just like win the Conference League. Then that's and that's it. No, too
Uh,
big.
has this achievement, because you mentioned the pain with the Euros for so long, sorry, with European football for so long, the sort of painful relationship with it. Did this achievement come out of nowhere, or has there been some sort of steady movements in recent years? How confident were you going into the campaign?
It's the definition of out of nowhere, I think. I'll explain myself. So last, I will be very. I will do a summary again. So last, not the season that went past, like the one before, Olympiacos
Hmm.
changed 3 coaches. Olympiacos hasn't won the league since 2002, 2022, 2023, and you will tell me, okay, that's 2 years. But yeah, it's big. Like you don't do this. Like Olympiacos wins the league, a weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that year, like 2 years ago, we changed three coaches. We had a big problem after like 4 years with Pedro Martins, a Portuguese coach, that we had like stability in Greece and Europe. Then the club struggled. We started actually last season with a like very nice project, like very promising project with ex Espanyol and ex Granada coach Diego Martinez and who's the technical director? Antonio Cordon, former Real Betis and Monaco technical director. So there was like excitement. Everyone was looking forward to this. We're like, okay, let's go again. And we go actually, I mean, we knew that the Conference League final is in Athens. But first of all, we're playing in the Europa League group stage. So that was like the objective was to go through the groups and then play in the knockouts. That was the objective. There was no one was talking about the Conference League, to be fair, at the beginning. We ended we ended the season with a third different coach and a third different technical director. So three coaches and three technical directors in one season. And in that season, you win the Conference League. This is like how this is like you teach that at school. So how not to manage a football club. That's exactly what you shouldn't do. And I mean, it got rewarded, you know?
It's funny how it works out like that sometimes. Sometimes it's the coach who comes in halfway through the season and doesn't perform very well in the league or something, but then just miraculously wins a European trophy. It's crazy.
Exactly. No, actually, it was like a small miracle. I like no one understands how this happened. After Martinez, he got sacked. Then we brought in Carlos Carvalhal, former Celta, and many teams. He has coached many teams. Portuguese guy, and a Portuguese technical director, Diego Alves. They stayed for a couple of months, but that was like the turning point was in the winter transfer window when Olympiakos signed like three Portuguese players, especially David Carmo, Porto center back, and another two guys, Horta and Chiquinho, and they changed the team. And then after Carvalhal was sacked, then Mendilibar came to the team. Jose Luis Mendilibar, who won the year before the and actually another miracle too, winning the trophy, the Europa League with Sevilla. To be fair, because that Sevilla wasn't that good. And then Mendilibar came, Darko Kovacevic, former Real Sociedad striker, Olympiakos legend, came back as a technical director, and they put together the team. They turned it into a team somehow. Like we're talking about a team of 35 players because they signed 20 players in the summer and another like 7-8 players in in the winter. I was like, okay, good. And I think that the second turning point was in the round of 16 when Olympiacos played Maccabi at home, and the first leg of the round of 16, and they lost 1-4, 4-1 at home. And that night, the Olympiacos owner called Mendilibar, and they decided to renew his contract for the next season. And they sent a message to everyone, to the fans and to the players, that this guy is staying here. We trust this guy and we want to move on with this guy.
So what's next for the club? Because as you said, Mendilibar has a habit of, I guess, overachieving, especially in Europe, at least in my opinion, in these last two jobs that he's had. And it seems like maybe things could be on a more even keel now. I guess, could this be an inspiration to get Olympiakos back to not only winning the league, but pushing further in Europe. How's the confidence level among the fan base going into this new season?
People are confused, first of all, because we don't believe that we won a European title. So we're still confused. So we'll have to go through this first. And then you said that it's the perfect moment for us to speak about this. But maybe the perfect moment will be next year or in 5 years when we realize what happened. But to be fair, something that people may not know is that this year is like the 100th anniversary of the club next year, actually, in 2025. So like this season, it's our anniversary season. This means that Olympiakos need to win the league, on our 100th anniversary, of course. I mean, they've been coaches that were fired after a press conference where they said that I don't understand this obsession with winning the league. So we need to win the league. So we need to win the league this season. And to be fair, who cares about Europe anymore? I don't know. Like, okay, we can say that, okay, we target the Europa League title, but like, I'll tell you a personal story. When I met my girlfriend now, I told her one thing. I was like, I don't care about anything. I actually told her that like four years ago. If Olympiacos win a European title, that's the dream. If Olympiacos win the European title, I will sit on the chair and I will wait to die. That's I have nothing, and that's what Olympiacos fans feel like at the moment. We want to win the title. We want to win the title. The Europe right now. Okay, we're gonna play as Conference League reigning champions, and that's it. But
okay, well, if I can pull you away from the glory of this European trophy win, and I want to talk to you a little bit more generally as a fan of Olympiakos. So you are based in Madrid most of the time, right?
Right, yes. I live in Madrid.
And a lot of, because of the work you do for, it's MARCA right now, is it?
MARCA and many else. I'm a freelancer, like a football journalist.
So, as lots of listeners can surely relate to, because this is the case for so many people, being away from the city where their club is, right? So, depending on the size of the club and the country and so on, it can be easier or harder. How do you follow Olympiacos? So, is there a TV rights situation in place in Spain, or is it something that you're able to access through your work, or does Olympiacos have some kind of its own streaming service? Because there's a lot of different ways this is done depending on your club. What's your situation? How are you keeping up with the club?
Well, illegal streaming and nothing else.
Is that basically the only option?
Yeah, that's basically actually the only option. Yes.
Naughty boy.
And yes, and very bad, poor.
No comment.
Streaming. Yes, that's it. There is nothing. There is no way. The only thing we can watch is Olympiacos in Europe, because the European League TV rights are on Movistar, which is like something like Sky Sports, and EuroLeague TV for the basketball games. But if you want to watch a league game, no, it's not easy. Maybe you can do it through the main TV, the TV, the owners of the TV rights in Greece. But to be fair, I'm paying so much money in Spain to watch football that I'm okay if I don't watch the Greek league. To be fair, okay, like
the prices in Spain are outrageous. It's like I think it may be the most expensive country in Europe for following its domestic league. It's outrageous.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's more expensive than the UK even.
Yeah, and Germany, which is both. It's pretty high in both of our countries, but in Spain it's just absolutely outrageous. Like people are paying just ungodly amounts. But anyway, when did that move happen? When did you move out of Athens, and how has it affected your fandom compared to before? Is your fandom basically the exact same way, or has it adapted in some way?
To be fair, I in Greece I didn't live in Athens. I live like 2 hours by car from Athens, so I was never there. I was never I was never near the stadium, but I was going to the stadium a lot, like a lot. Like I had season ticket too, and I was going a lot, and I was going away with a team in Greece and in Europe. Um, and I've been away abroad for the last 11 years, and I had like my ups and downs with Olympiakos, to be fair. Like I had seasons that I was obsessed and I was watching the games all the time and missing a single game. Then I had seasons where I was tired, I was furious, and it's easier when you're abroad to avoid watching your team, you know? In Greece,
Yeah.
if you're in Greece, it's not that easy. So this helped me a lot to calm down, for example, sometimes. But yeah, it goes like this. But in order to watch my team, I go away in the European, like in Europe, both football and basketball, and I enjoy some games here and there.
And is it a situation where you're fingers crossed in Europe every time to get a Spanish team? Because it's a nice, quick journey for you.
Always, yes, yes. Yes, always. I've been away. My first away trip was but I was in Spain back then. It was Real Madrid away. I've been Atletico Madrid away, Real Betis away. Yes, yes. I always wish for that because I know that it's easier. And in basketball, for example, I know that they play in the EuroLeague. They always play Spanish team, so it's actually cool. So I can go to the game. But at the beginning. This is the only season after 2000 years that Olympiacos are not playing qualifiers, European qualifiers, because, I don't know if you know, we won the Conference League.
What?
Yes, guys, that's true. So it's always the qualifiers that are cool, and you get some teams where you can go and travel, but it's always, I don't know, man, like Kazakhstan and Ukraine, and before
Yeah.
it was Russia, and it's too far away to
Yeah, it's
travel.
tough.
But
Interesting.
you
Could
also,
be very, very interesting, but yeah, it's a lot.
yes, exactly. I mean, you need days. It's a proper holiday, It's not
Yeah,
like 2-3 days to go watch the game and come back.
that's it. I think that's always the when your team is in Europe, I think there's always that if you want to go away and follow them, that battle between, on the one hand, if we play, Ajax or Sporting or something, it's a nice, easy one. But then on the other hand, if we play, like Galatasaray or something, it's going to be more fun and more kind of cool
Exactly.
to go so far away. But I mean, from a British perspective, but yeah, it's just you end up spending so much time traveling and money. And I guess it's better the closer the team, the better sometimes.
To be fair, like my only problem with the conference final was that it was played in Greece. Because if it wasn't played in Greece, I would have a ticket for the final. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was crazy. You couldn't get a ticket for the final. I could get a ticket for the Champions League final this season, but I couldn't get ticket for the Conference League final. So
Yeah.
you can imagine.
It sums up the feeling of hysteria in the air, I guess, in the city. So to finish off, I just want to ask you a couple of questions outside of you talking about the support in general. How would you describe or characterize the Olympiakos fan base in a few words?
Crazy, demanding, intense. I think those three words. Yes, these are
And what's
the
the
perfect
best
words.
thing about being an Olympiakos fan?
I didn't expect this question. Uh,
What's the worst thing about being an Olympiakos fan? That's probably easier. It's always
Man,
easier to think about
I
the
don't know,
bad
man.
times.
I'm so happy right now since that finals that there is nothing that it's bad. Everything is good.
Oh man.
No, the
And you
worst
can just
thing.
tell
Look,
you are on
I'll
cloud
tell,
nine.
I'll tell you. The worst thing is that glory hunting. That there's many fans who are glory hunters because you're a big team. Like people
Yeah.
tell me you're the Real Madrid of Greece, and I think in my head list Real Madrid are top three. So Yes, glory hunting and like fans who get disappointed easily and fans who will like I don't know, go against the club and against the players all the time, even if they need time. And they proved it last year too. Like just give them time and anything can happen. That's the worst thing. The best thing I think is my friends, is the friends that I've made by going to the stadium. And for example, I'll give you I'll give you a good one. So I didn't have a ticket for the Conference League final because I chose not to have a ticket for the Conference League final, because we're three friends who traveled from Berlin directly from the EuroLeague Final Four to Athens, and I could have gotten an accreditation and go like as press to the game, but I decided against doing this because I wanted to watch the game with my friends in Piraeus. That's what I wanted to do in that game, and I think that's that's the best thing that has happened to me, watching that game with my friends in Greece.
What a beautiful note to end on. Thank you so much, Panos. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you again, and let's hope for more European success in the coming years.
Thank you very much. Let's hope so, but we can wait. We've waited enough, so we can wait. We don't mind. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks, dude. Thank you. Thanks so much for listening to the Sporticos Football Stories podcast. It was such a pleasure talking to Panos again, and we can't wait to bring you more chats with fans from across the footballing landscape, from ex-pros to bloggers, YouTubers, and more. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing. If you really liked it, give us a 5-star review wherever you get your pods. That will help us out so much. Thanks again, and catch you next time on the Sporticos Football Stories podcast.